before. I'm not too late. Hey, how's it going? We have attrition, right? Ton of it. I'm not surprised. Catch the door, will you?
We'll see.
Okay, don't catch the door. That's fine. So I am intending right now to do an app from scratch in Django 1.5 and show you how that flows, front to back. Edit every file, edit everything required in order to cause that into existence. So that's what we're about to do. Before I do that, I want to afford you the opportunity to ask questions because you might have some. So now is your chance.
Okay, I tried using what was in your previous set of examples and wasn't able to get it to go. So maybe this will get me what I need.
Good feedback. Ben.
Is there a way that we can set an environment up for playing with Django that doesn't involve us necessarily purchasing our own domain? Because I have GoDaddy right now. I don't necessarily want to be buying domain addresses through multiple providers. I will if I have to. But
An IP address will do. You don't need a URL, an actual DNS.
okay.
So revisit the question at the end if you feel you still need some additional input to that.
Sure.
Okay? Anyone else? You're the intimidating one. Okay. Nothing?
Let's see.
So I'm probably throwing a Halloween party on like the 24th. It's a Friday. All right, I got at least one person saying yes.
Parties
So
at the house are fun. You should go.
yes, I throw really good parties. So anyway, expect that on the horizon. I will be gone on Halloween. I'm going to see Danny Elfman in concert in LA. So I'm really excited about that.
It's the 24th of October.
October, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Next month. Next
Okay.
month. Sorry, next month. Next month.
Okay.
But if I don't tell you in advance, you won't come. So
So if we don't have DNS name, we can just refer to our IP address, right?
yes,
Okay.
which I will show you how to do here in a moment. You're late. 10 push-ups. No other questions? Okay, so I'm going to resolve your problems first. And I'd like to emphasize why you had a problem last week. Last week I was running Django 1.3. This week I am running Django 1.5. And there is a structural change, and that is where you got confused. So first things first. Everyone can see that I'm running Django 1.5. Okay, so I did this by doing pip install Django. Very simple. Right? The current release version is 1.5. There is version 1.6, so I might use that, but that'll do for starters. So first off, we need an app. Right? That's called a project in Django. So we're all Django.
I have a question. How do you call only a specific Django version?
How do I call a specific Django version?
Like you can install
Say if I
it.
want 1.3, but it's available 1.5 over there.
Oh, how do I install 1.3? Equals 1.3.0.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I think I have a few versions of Django. Like, can you pick just one of those? How you can pick one of Django?
It looks like I have.
Okay, you want to have two separate versions installed at the same time.
Yes. Is it
Okay.
possible?
I am not willing to explain it, but the answer is virtual environment. And it's relatively simple to do in Python. You just define the virtual environment, and it uses not only the version of Python you've requested, but whatever apps inside that. So you can have 5 different versions of Django. You just switch between virtual environments. I'm not willing to do that here because it's way over most people's heads. So one thing at a time. Good? All right. So
It looks like I have pip, or I have Django 152, Should I have 154?
Meh, it's not going to make any difference. Those are bug fixes between the time you installed and the time I installed.
Because I'll put it in.
Feel
there.
free to use a -u and upgrade, but once again, it's not
Can you
really
do
within
that?
the scope of what I
Is it
covered.
pip something?
Yeah, pip
Pip
install
-u?
-u space and the
Oh.
item.
I just did what you did, but for 154. So will it like overwrite my old version of Django?
Probably.
Okay.
And or it'll say, hey, you need to use the -u switch. It might have said that during your install. Anyway, no matter what, the bottom line is, can you do Python, import, Django, version all in cats, and C 1.5? If so, you'll be able to follow what I'm doing one-to-one. Okay, so Django, admin, start project, my project. Now, the big difference here in Django 1.3, this folder would have had manage, views, models, and tests. Now, manage is up a folder. They did this for relative referencing, relative to the Python path. It makes it easier to reference things, but same functionality exists. I'm going to do a very simple command. Manage.py space validate. This verifies that your Django is properly structured. And since I just started a project from scratch, I sure as heck hope that it's structured properly. So there's your validate. Now I'm going to run this Django instance.
Hey, it worked.
Right? So start project, creates the folder, and puts manage in there, which is the Django woo that runs everything. And if we're going to add more stuff, we'll deal with that in a minute. But as you can see, Django comes ready to rock and roll. If you start a project, you have a web server running. And this would serve, you could actually use this for public serving. I don't recommend it, but you could.
What if they call like testing?
It's essential for testing.
Yeah, so we don't need to buy any like domain until we want to actually deploy the thing and show it to us.
Exactly.
Cool.
All right. Questions? All right, so let's look at what's inside this folder. What do I call it? My project or something like that. There it is. Okay, so now my project contains a folder called my project, which is a little confusing, but it's okay. I called it the same thing. I could have called it something else. Meh. Okay, so now if we go down into this my project folder, which I'm going to do here so you can see that I'm drilling, inside there is where our files are, where they used to be in the root. So, what's in these files? Hopefully you at least got part of my lecture from last week, a little bit, so we have a general idea of what's going on. URLs will allow you to put a URL in, right? We don't have any views here, we don't have any tests here, any of that, because this is the root. You typically wouldn't put those things in your root. So we're going to create a sub-app, okay? So here I am back at my lovely prompt. Manage.py. Wait a minute. Where am I? Make sure I do this correctly. Okay, and I'm going to do a quick dir of this so you can see what's going on. Right, so I have my main app, which I created using start project. Now inside that project, I'm creating an app. A nice app. Okay? Nothing's changed as far as the server itself. If we were to run, just to go back up and run my server again.
No. Backup.
Oh, did I miss? Oh, I'm one folder down. And I can't spell. Right, now we're back. Now, if we want to go to our sub app,
Nice app.
it's not going to work. Why not?
It's nice. Not so.
Okay,
underscore nice.
it worked anyway, right? It didn't error is my point. Yeah, this doesn't work. Why not?
You don't have that URL.
Yay! Somebody's paying attention, right? Our urls.py doesn't point to it, so we need to deal with that, right? So let's deal with it. Here's our URLs. Oh, don't run it, Michael. Remember what I told you before, right? We're going to uncomment the admin. Just because I'm here, I'm going to do it. Now, here's their example for you. So we're going to go ahead and use their example nicely.
What does R apostrophe caret mean?
Declare expression and starting with that particular string.
Somebody was paying attention. It's a regular expression. So the caret means start at the beginning. And what did we call it? My project, a sub app. Did I put underscores? I did. A sub app. I think I did that right. Server's still running. All right. So we're gaining on it, right? Because I unquoted a bunch of stuff. It's all like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard of this admin thing. The other thing it's never heard of is, here it is, a sub app. It's never heard of this, so we need to tell it this. And where do you do this? Settings, that's right. Your settings contains everything. So we're going to go ahead and open this. Let's go ahead and open this and have a look at what's going on here. I'm going to give you a little more information this time than I did last time because today we're going to cover models and last time I covered views, so we're going to cover it all today. So I'm going to start at the top. Debug equals true, super important, very, very important. If you're testing, you want debug to be true, otherwise your errors will just be a blank white page. Not helpful. Versus right now with debug equals true, I get this really great error message, which tells me everything that's going on, what the problem is. You can even come down and drill the source that called it and see what the local variables are in that call. So you can see everything that was passed in and out, what the URL was, etc., etc. And also for later, get and post dictionaries and all of that. Anyway, this is standard Django error. We will see it a lot more. So let's get back to our template here. Settings.py, debug equals true. Now, difference between last week and this week, we're going to define a database this time. Does that sound like a good idea? Time to bring a database into the mix. So we're going to use SQLite. So all I did was type SQLite 3. Very simple. SQLite is very light, and it'll just run in its own directory in the folder where you started. it will create a file called SQLite 3 MyDB. Now, SQLite doesn't use username and password and all the rest of it, so we're going to skip the rest of these. And I'm going to continue to move down until I get to the installed apps section. Now, as it says, I'm going to uncomment the admin. And now I'm going to add, ooh, it already had a comma. What am I adding? Come on.
You will add the sub app.
Yes, that's right. It's called A Nice App.
Yeah.
A Nice App. Okay, I believe that's it. I'm going to scroll down and make sure I didn't miss anything. Pretty sure I'm right. Logging, logging, logging. Good. All right, so our settings has now been configured, and I put it in the wrong place. Oh, that's what's wrong. I bet this takes care of it. Let's make sure it does. Control S. Apologize for not having time to write this before I started today, but yeah, we're in kind of a crazy place right now.
Why are you not saving? What you just modify?
I thought I did. I did.
You did?
Control S. I'm too fast. There we go.
I didn't know it.
Why is it freaking on me? That's what I get for doing this on the fly. Yes?
I thought somewhere I saw import admin was commented out. And I think
In the URLs? Oh, did I miss one? I bet you're right, Ben Parisi. Yep. Whoops. Gotta uncomment everything. There we go. Now let's see if it's happy here. Just gonna go ahead and rerun that. Are you happy? Yes. So we have changed errors. Oh, that's absolutely right.
It's not in the file. It is not in the file.
Okay. So if we go into our folder here, what's missing?
URLs.
Yeah. And if we look at the error,
Yeah.
no module name subapp URLs. Da, 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 da. It doesn't come with URLs. You've got to give it a URL. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and create this. Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
Didn't you not have to give the first one a URL? That we need the first bit?
Yep.
But every sub app, you need to give it a URL.
Now you got it. If you want, it doesn't have to have a URL if you never refer to it by URL. I have many sub apps that don't have views.
Oh, okay. Right.
Okay, and now we're going to name it.
Where'd the sub app folder go? Didn't you have a sub app folder somewhere? I don't see it anymore.
It's called nice app.
Is that nice?
I can start over if you'd like.
No need, but I thought you had something that said sub app, and I was looking for a folder, and I don't see it anymore.
Oh, did I spelled it wrong. You caught us.
So
So
the URL should be nice.
it should be a nice app, not a sub app, and we need to call it that.
Nice app, right?
Yeah, this is wrong. Nice. So you're keeping me on my toes here. Here also it needs to be nice. Yeah, it's nice here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Now it'll say nice.
yeah, there we go. Oh, and
No
see,
module name.
what I called the URL is different. Hard to read? Ah.
photo for.
I just wanted to, how do I do that? Scroll mouse, control mouse wheel. I don't know how to do that from here, so I'll just do it manually. Here we go. Boink, 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 boink. Boink. Right, I called it my app, you remember? Let's go back here. We see right here. That's the regular expression I used. I did that on purpose to show you this can be anything. It does not have to match your app name. Oh, helps. I think I shut it off. Yeah, I shut it off. Yep. There we go. Try again. There we go. And see now it says anything there. So if we go anything, it's all like, I'm happy, except your URL doesn't have any patterns in it. Which is true, right? I just created an empty file. Let's go ahead and look at that file here. Empty. Yeah, not so good. So let's go ahead and make one, and I'll show you the cheap way to deal with this. We go up to our URLs in the root. We can open that, copy it, move it to our new urls.py. We'll take out all the weirdness. Ah, there we go. Take out this example here. Now leave this. This is how we got to it, right? So now, instead of this, we are going to do my project a nice app. And what are we going to call it? Let's take this out. So we aren't using it. Oh, I may need to uncomment. Control S. You get what I just did here?
Control S.
It just saves.
Oh yeah.
She asked me if I had saved
When you
before.
said- I missed that part. You said uncommon and then control S. I'm like, that's not what uncommons.
Ah. Okay, so this points to a view. What's the problem? Bueller. Yeah, I don't have a view, so it's all like, you don't have a view called that. So now we need to create a view called my view. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we need, I'm sorry, in the wrong place here. In here, there's already a view that comes with a sub app by default. And I'm going to close my existing Python because this is going to get confusing for me. Okay, so now I'm going to open my views, maybe. And as you can see, it's empty. And so I think the easiest thing to do is I'll use my view from the presentation for last week because that's already written. I think this is right. Yeah, there we go. I'll do pig, that'll do. Okay, and I'm going to go over this line by line, don't panic. All right, so I did this last time, so hopefully it looks a little familiar. So as we go through this, we won't have to panic. So this is our views. We import the kind of view we're looking for from generic. We're looking for template view. Random is just because I want a random number. Now, my class-based view has a name. I called it blog index. You want to name it something else, or do you like blog index?
Blog index is fine.
Well, everybody likes blog index. Okay. Index view for my blog application. My template name. This looks good, except we don't have this file yet. Okay, so we need to make this file before we call this. Last time we talked about adding things to our context, right? So here we're supering our context and adding to the context dictionary. Right? Not really. Okay, so we have a class. Class comes with a whole bunch of methods. Methods are functions within a class, right? So our class comes with a bunch of methods. I don't want to replace those methods. I want to run on top of those methods. I want to run the base method, and I want to run my method as well. So with this get context data, I use super, which is a function of objects, to superimpose one object on the other. Okay, so I've made my template, I've made my view from template view, which has context data. I've supered my class context data with my own context data, and I've added number to that context. Little complicated. I hope it gets easier as we go. So with this information, I have, here's that, and I'm creating a view instance of that class. I'm not just instantiating the class, I'm running as view, which runs the as view inside that class and causes it to create with all the right methods in place. Ben?
So you're not overriding the definition of the get context data function.
I'm
You're just
superimposing.
using it to like get all that information and then you're just adding more information.
That's right. I run the base first, and then I run mine on top of that.
Okay. So just calling it doesn't call the super. Right?
I have to actually call it here.
Okay. Okay. That's a little different actually.
Yes, I agree.
Well, the main difference is it's not showing it as a function that's being overridden.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be the same.
And here I can do something before I fetch context. And here I do something after I fetch context. Because that can matter. It can make a difference depending on where you execute. So this is true of super. I use super a ton, and you need to recognize when you're actually executing the super matters. Okay, so this is what we call our instance of blog index view here. So what I'm going to do is, anyone?
Oh, use that.
See, I see that as view is not a function for the blog index. You are using blog index dot as view.
I agree.
So that is inbuilt. I mean, what is that as view function?
It's a static method on the object template view.
Okay.
Ooh, he liked that answer.
No, from the template view, it's inheriting that function.
Yes, correct. Template view contains that function.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, all views contain that function. Okay, so the answer to my question is I need to tell URLs that this is the view I'm using, blog index view. So I need to go back to my URLs. Oh, I don't need this anymore. I need to go back to my URLs.py. And here I called it my view. Instead, we're going to call it blog index view. Okay, I'm going to save this. You'll note that the server reran itself automatically when I saved that file. This test server recognizes when you save any files it's using and relaunches itself, so you have the latest version. Okay, now I'm going to come over here. And what's it going to say?
404 not found.
Nice. 404.
You missed the file.
I'm missing the template. Wow, you really are paying attention. So yes, it's going to cough, and it says,
You does not exist.
I know it exists. Did I name it wrong? You're going to stump me while I'm teaching class, aren't you?
Did you make a subfolder?
It should be right. What did I do wrong? Did something wrong. Gonna watch me troubleshoot on camera?
That could be helpful.
I'm checking for references here, and if this doesn't work, I'll just do it the other way, which is to import the view directly. Okay, so it did change. And fine. So let's see what our referencing is going on here. Oh. Die. I knew I was missing something. There we go. That's the error I was looking for.
So they all the way under the views. So it's all the way other views is under the folder views.
Well, not folder. It's the file.
The
Views. Views.
Oh, okay.
Right, and inside here is our view. Actually, that's our URL, but hey, you know what you got the idea.
Yeah.
Right, there's our view inside views. But you gotta name everything, and you gotta get your references right because it's not clairvoyant. So you need to tell it where everything is. Okay, we still need this blog index.html. So is everybody comfortable with me making that now? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and make that. So do it from here. It's easier, quicker, more seductive. So my projects, and we're in a nice, right? Anybody have any clue what I'm gonna do?
Make your template.
Okay, now I'm going to create a file in here, right? Do that a whole bunch of ways. Nice app, templates. Yeah, what we call it? I don't remember what I called it. Logged index.html. Don't die. No dying in my class allowed. No dying. Or I could have stopped it, which I probably did. Yeah, I stopped it.
Oh man, so good.
Did I not type it right? Make sure it's looking in the right place.
Log underscore index or
I'm sorry?
log underscore index or log.
Aha! Good job, buddy. It's always something simple, isn't it? Yeah, I put an underscore in my name. That's where our problem is.
Man, I was doing the same thing, like stroke for stroke without watching.
Yeah,
That was
nice.
weird.
That was weird. I feel weird.
Underscore in the name.
Right? Happy? It's slightly different than what I told you last week, but only slightly, very, very slightly. Only took me half an hour to show you.
Gee, that's like less than 10 minutes away.
Okay, you ready to get more serious?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. So let's bump this up a notch. So in my blog folder here, which we called a nice app, there's a models.py. Okay, and inside that, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a model. First, I'm going to get rid of the stupid comment. Okay. Takes 2 lines before a top-level class.
Is that just that's just convention? It's just
You're not asking me about style, are you, Ben?
it's a style thing, right?
Okay, before I hack at this, I want to just pause for a minute, and I want to explain what a model is before I start actually showing you. A model is an object that stays. I'll say it again. A model is an object that stays. What that means is I can exit my app, reboot my computer, come back into my app, and ask for that object, and it will give me that object. Not a different object, that object. So I can create permanent objects, and these objects are stored in a database. So how totally powerful is that? I mean, for me, it was like a click. I went, wow, because you can create a game or whatever, store it, and when you come back, you just pull it out, and you're back exactly where you were before. So it's really powerful. So objects that stay, that's a model. All right, a database works with tables. Now, you may not have ever worked with the database before. I don't know. I'm 100% positive every single one of you has come into contact with Microsoft Excel, which is a big table full of little cells in it. That is identical to what a database looks like. Not quite how it acts, but that's what it looks like. You have rows and columns, right? Columns have names for what goes in that column, and each row has data for each one of those columns. What a model does, we define the columns, and the model stores the rows. So what I'm going to do right now is define my data columns. Name equals, that's not what I want. I want to show you all the different fields before we do much else. Oh, really? I'm not plugged in or something? Come on, IGT. There we go. Yay, IGT. Boo, IGT. There we go, Django. Yes, 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 yes. So as you can see in their very first example here, they're using something very basic. I'll just type it out so you know. Models dot. Now here is the question, what goes here? And I'm going to start with a char field, just like they do here. We give it a max length equals 10. Now we have one field in there. I'd really like to put in more than one field. What do you think? So let's put something nice. Whoa. And we'll set this to now equals true. I think we'll do. I think that's right. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and we'll talk about it here in a moment. But before I do that, I was hoping this page would give me a field list. It doesn't.
Field types, field options.
I would really like to show you a field list. Field types.
Well, there is a fields.
Which is the
A choices list. Is that it?
No, that's not it. Model field reference. Here we go. It had to be right here. Right. Auto field. That creates an incremented integer number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which it'll do automatically. Big integer, if you have a really big integer number. Binary, what's binary? Zeros and ones, right? Boolean, same thing, 1, 0. Char field for characters, right? And you have to define a max length and or not. Comma separated integer field, date field, date time field, decimal field, not real, decimal, okay, right? We already talked about that. Email field, interestingly enough, that comes with a regular expression that checks the string that you're trying to store to make sure it's an email address before you store it. And it actually pings the internet to make sure it's a valid email address. File field, storing files. You can store files. What else we got going here? File. Float, yeah, don't use that. Yuck. Image field, integer field, IP address, generic IP address, slugs, no booleans, text fields. Text fields is what you would think. If you have a big widget that takes in a bunch of text, that's a text field, not a char field.
And it's really an object.
It is an object, yes. Time, URL, and we'll get to foreign keys in a minute. That's far enough. Anyway, you see there's a whole bunch of possibilities for what's going on. I use a char field, and I use a datetime field. So that'll do to start. Now, it's just going to work, right?
Sure.
Well, I have to run the server. That helps. Did I not spell it right? Ooh, I didn't spell it right. What did I do wrong? Models. Oh, it's datetime field. Yeah, that time doesn't like my now either. Let's make sure that they.
Something changed maybe?
Yeah, it might be a change, so that's all right. Django model field datetime. No, that's not right. That's not what I'm looking for. I want the Django docs. Silly thing. There we go. Oh, it's auto now. And I'm going to go back and validate. There we go. That's better. So if we run our server, nothing, right? Nothing changed, but at least we know it's valid. Now we need to gain access to this data somehow. It needs to be there. This is going to be a two-step process. First, we need to instantiate the tables in the database. We need to tell the database, hey, I've got tables for you. And how do you do that? You define your models.py, which we just did, right? We just did. Hopefully you're following that much. And now we're going to sync. going to say yes. That's fine. Park and I is fine. So what happened is we defined our model in a nice app, and we called it My Model. Now, Django comes with a bunch of other things, and that is user authorization and permission, content type, session data, site data, and the admin. All these are built into the framework. So when you run a sync, it creates all of the tables that it needs in order to do everything. Can I cause it not to have these? Yes, most certainly you can. Are you likely to do that? No, most of the time you're going to want those there. So, happy. I create a model, then I have to sync. Now that I'm sunked. Now that I'm super sunked, I can start to play with the data in my model. Question is, how do I see this model? Anyone have an idea?
Print it, right?
I could print it. Yeah, good, Ben.
Oh, so your views have a class for every view, and it's not a separate class. It's not a separate file. It's all in views.py. Just every view class.
Yeah, all your views go in your views.py.
Can't they get really ugly? I mean, how many views do you typically have in a Django app?
Good question. My response is, I have really nice units, and my units are all broken out into modules. So it's very likely inside my view, I'm making a single call to an external module that actually contains all the code.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes views does get out of hand. And when it does, it's time to refactor. And we called our model what? My model. Oh, how hard. So we need to do a couple of things here. A, we need to import our model. And I can't remember the name of this app for the life of me. My project, a nice app. Oh boy. I shouldn't have named it that. I think I got that right. That looks right to me. So that's going to put this. I also need my model view, which I think I have in the right place. It might be imported from someplace else. If it is, we'll figure that out real quick here. Okay, now we need to instantiate it. And now we need a Bueller URL. Wow, somebody's paying attention. Do I still have it open? I do. Look at that. Ooh. I think I named that right. My model view. My model view. All right, come over here. Sure, we're happy. We are happy. Yeah, that's what I thought. Hang on. It just means I'm importing from the wrong place. Oops. It's not here. Really? Really, really, really? You're going to make me look it up. That's not here either. I swear, I have it in my other view. I'll deal with it that way if I have to. It's still not telling me what I want. Sorry to fumble. I could look this up in my code because I definitely use it. That's probably the right thing to do. Let's see here. Maybe I don't use it. I don't use it. Gosh, gotta love it. I don't think I use it anywhere then. Nope. Okay, so failure. Man, come on. I'm just trying to find the import, and it's being rather difficult.
Import from your web files or import from somewhere else, like external.
I don't understand the question. Try again.
Okay, I'll just.
Oh. I don't want to create view. No, we can do it that way if need be. Where do you import that from is the question. It doesn't show us that either. Gotta love it. I apologize. This is definitely the right place.
Generic edit.
Yeah. So editing view. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'll apologize one more time. It's not what I want. That is not what I want.
Looks like in their example they got some import author.
That's right, and we do this as well.
So
We import our model, which in their case is author, and in our case is my model, right? All I'm trying to do is get the import correctly written, and I'm having some problems. So we'll see what we can do here. I'll look this up in a moment. Let's make sure this serves, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, good. Inside that, why did I put an underscore? I don't remember what I did. No, just my model. That's right. It's looking for the input form. Man, if I could find that other. Oh, it's detail view. Gosh darn it. See, I knew I'd remember. Hang on. And or list view. And let's make sure we got this right. I do. Okay, good. So it's detail view, and there's the import location. Let's make sure we do this right. And home view. From, there we go. Now we should be much more money. Yes, happy. Good. Oh, it's looking for a specific. Oh, plus bucket. I knew I should have prepped more. Hang on. Let's do this. If we do this, it's going to show us everything in that model, which will do just fine. From, and it's import, and we're going to use list view. And now it's going to ask us for a template because we'll need one. And if we refresh now, it's going to be like, there's no template for that. So we need this to exist. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to go into templates, I'm going to create a folder called nice app. Inside that, I'm going to create an HTML page entitled my model underscore list.html. Ooh, my model underscore list.html. And I think it says in the instructions, so I'll show that to you so you can see it's there. Yes. It is, does it show you? Yes, it does. It passes in object list into your template, which I will put in here and show it to you. Okay, so now the file exists. Which is correct, there's nothing in it. So how about we put something in it and try again?
Okay.
We are done.
Yeah, they can wait a second. From, yeah, I understand they're waiting. It's from my project. Did I get it all? I did. So now we have my model. So what I'm going to do, my model dot create objects, create name equals test. It's not running. Okay. Now, it's the very final thing I will do. Very last thing I'm going to do is we'll have a look at the first one of these and look at its name.
Nice.
Got it? We'll do it again next week. Homework assignment. Oh. Make a view with the model. Huh? See a lot of reticence. It's okay. It's okay. Everything's going good. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you very much.